I know we got good people, and when we have good people, talented people, you gotta let them. You, I mean, you gotta let them be free to be themselves. Number one, and you gotta let them use um, their skills and abilities in a way that benefits the whole. We believe that we were all given our individual God-given abilities, and we need to use them the best way we can. And so you think about you know, even you and I are a lot different. We're brothers, and you'd think that we would be a lot the same, but and sure, our the things that we value are
Very similar.
very similar,
I mean,
very in line. But
yeah,
as people, we're as about as different as
right,
you can, as two people can be, that look as much alike as we do.
right, yeah.
the
That's funny.
the and so, but the power of that is the people got to have a place where they're free to be themselves. Like they
Right.
got to be comfortable in their own skin, and we got to feel safe to make a mistake and screw some stuff up. And that's one thing that I can look at here is that we've never fired somebody for making a mistake, and we've made some big ones.
We have made some big ones, yeah.
We've never fired somebody for making a mistake because you think about even those, it's an education.
Right.
Pay for an
Yeah.
education. People um, people pay big bucks to go get a degree that they can't hardly use, and so we make a mistake here, and it's like you fire them, you let them go. Well, you just you just paid for their education for them to go use somewhere else. Doesn't make any sense.
But the thing is, too, is like, along with that, like you said, we've never fired anybody for making a mistake. But the thing is, too, is that what I've always seen every time we make a mistake here is the people care because,
Yeah. That's the
I
one
mean,
thing with it is that if you screw something up and you don't care, you blame it on somebody else, that might get you fired. But the mistake itself won't,
right,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
No, but I can honestly say, too, that, like, um, we're imperfect, and I'm not saying that we've capitalized on every single detail of every lesson we've learned, but I can honestly say that all the mistakes we've taken notes from them, we've made improvements, we've taken them serious,
mm-hmm.
tried to improve how we do things. We're actively learning from our mistakes,
Yeah,
and that's the difference.
yeah,
Is like if you're not learning from your mistakes, then you're just an idiot. I mean,
absolutely.
you got to
Yeah,
be making them, and you got to be learning from them.
yeah,
And we've
you
had some
can't.
hard lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the old saying of those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. We
Right.
gotta know our history,
Yep.
and that's why I keep that email from the. We had a client before, extremely high standards. We thought that we could run with the pack, and we screwed up a bunch of stuff. We sent him a whole bunch of fab that was absolutely unacceptable. We were in a hurry, and through that period, we got an email from the owner of the company that was probably the best, uh, butt chewing I've ever received. Came through an email, and it was very thorough, uh, very meticulous, and I printed it and hung it on my wall because we got to remember those lessons. Like,
Well,
and we did. And
but the rest of the story,
yep,
right? Like we learned, we improved, and that
and years
dude,
later, mm-hmm,
I'm very close to that guy,
mm-hmm,
and I mean I don't know how well you know him, but like
mm-hmm.
that relationship only got better.
Yeah, it did. Yep. Because we owned up,
Right.
we dealt with the issue. We
Yeah.
we went down to his shop and and went through each of those parts with a fine tooth comb and got it up to his level. And it took some time. We didn't do work for that company for quite a while, but years later we did, and we had learned our the quality from then to now was light years ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say the second time that we did work for that company, it was with like flying colors. We crushed it. So
And then we've been doing work for them ever since. I mean, it's just, even though there was a gap in the years that we'd worked for them, it wasn't that we had a bad relationship with them.
Yeah,
We had an excellent relationship with them, and it grew. And that old man that sent us the email, like, sounds kind of weird, but he liked us, and he did it out of love.
oh yeah, that's
Like, no, it was the best butt chewing we ever got, like
yep,
you said.
because it included the love.
Yeah, he
I know.
liked us, and he was like, "No, these freaking whippersnappers need to learn a lesson," and we did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just it was incredible.
Yep.
The whole experience.
It wasn't a personal attack. It wasn't demeaning.
Right.
It was you could feel the love in the.
But see,
in the
that's
letter,
an
but you-
example of what you're even talking about with this, building teams, and like that's how the best relationships are built between companies.
You can't say that. There's no good relationship that we have in our personal life or business life that is without bumps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Takes bumps to make it great.
Right, and so you got to be willing to take the bumps. You got to
Yeah.
be willing to have the tough conversations
Yeah.
with your vendors, with your clients, with your people,
Yeah.
everybody, to build strong teams.
Yep. Yep.
I know we've talked about that before. It always feels like kicking a dead horse, but you'd be shocked how many people just refuse.
Yeah.
They won't do it.
Yeah.
And then you have lawsuits, and then you have finger pointing, and you have
Mm-hmm.
that's all because people don't want to deal with conflict.
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
Yeah. Or accept
or
responsibility.
accept.
For,
Yep. Or own up.
Yep. Got to own up. Yeah. There's a bunch of different components of people: the emotional and physical and financial and spiritual and all the different aspects of a person. And if we're not, like, as entrepreneurs and businessmen, that's our responsibility to society, is to better, to have a positive impact on the community and the people around us and so on. And so if we're not having a positive impact on as many of those facets as possible, then we're not doing our job, and we just need to go find a job.
Right.
Like, that's just
If we
part of the
can't,
deal.
if we can't have a positive impact on all those pieces ourselves, then we just need to go somewhere where somebody can have a positive impact on us.
exactly. But I think the why, like, for me, it's those two things. There's the American manufacturing, which I feel is a huge. You can talk about that for hours. Manufacturing is the backbone of a country, especially one like ours that is as big and diverse as it is. That the ability to produce things is the backbone. Like, that's what we have, and there's a lot of weakness there. There's a lot of opportunity there, and then the people component is like, we've had there's a lot of stories about, think about even the kid that came in 6 years ago, and he told us his name. He said, "My name's David, and I love to weld." And he was right out of high school, no real life experience. He worked for a landscaping company for some time, property maintenance and different stuff. But he came in, and we realized right away that this kid was humble. He was really hungry. He wanted to learn. He was like a sponge, and he was smart. He was really smart. Like, he was careful with people around him, and he got it, like how to move and how to think and how to build things. And over time, he's progressed to where he's a project manager here, and it's like, that's why. Like, it plays such a huge part, and we got 100 stories like that with the people that are here.
Right.
And I think that that plays a part in it, is that you talk about attracting and retaining people, is that you don't put them in a box, and you don't tell them to stay in their lane, and you don't you know, hide them in a corner and make them do the same thing for years on end. Like, you got to give people the freedom to grow and learn, and we got to train them. Like, you know, that's, you hear that a lot from the older guys, that problems about the workforce today, and I had a conversation with another local businessman that was 90% of the conversation was him grumbling about the workforce and how he'd hired all these people and they never last and they suck, and all the problems with the young guys and the workforce. And it's like, dude, you gotta look in the mirror, because if you're not willing to invest in that guy and listen to him and train him, he's never gonna be what you think he is.
Right.
What you think
or
he
what
should
you
be.
want.
What
Yeah.
you want. Yeah. That we gotta put massive amounts of resources, because tied to that, the loss of manufacturing in the U.S. is that the people that do that work aren't there either. We got to teach them. We got to train them.
Right.
That's the whole blue collar
Yep.
revolution.
They're not there. We got to make them.
We got to make them. Yeah.
Yep.
And and that's a huge part of the
Well, and
huge
you
part
can,
of the puzzle.
it's a whole nother conversation about why too. But I mean, I could generally just say that maybe a lot of it is the parenting. Is the reason that they're not popping out of high school with the life skills that maybe they used to. But I would argue, that's not the whole picture. I would also argue that old fart that's grumbling about the young guys, he was probably a doofus too when he was coming out of high school, and he's just don't have self-knowledge. He forgot, and life's been, and he takes for granted, the things that he learned, and he forgets that, and he's impatient, and he's like, dude, I just want to hire guys, and I want them to know what they're doing and go for it. Well, you got to be able to invest in people, or want to, and the best people we have are the people that have grown and been here for a long time.
Yeah.
And if that don't tell you,
Yep. Which kind of ties into the values that we have, is that we aspire to have or try to maintain, is the ego part of it, is that you take somebody that's an age may or may not be a factor, but a lot of times they're older guys that have a lot of experience in the work that we're doing, and 9 times out of 10 they come with a big ego, because they feel like they've earned it or whatever it is, and they're above doing certain things, and so that has been a hard line for us. Like, we don't
do that.
We don't deal with big egos, and so
you got to be part of the team 100%.
100%, and be willing to do whatever, sweep the floors, grind another guy's weld, whatever it takes. That's yep. And
ownership is worth a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we found ourselves in this position where it's difficult to find guys with experience and with a small ego, or a controlled ego. We all have them, but and so we found ourselves, we just have to train them, and it's been amazing.
Right.
Plus, we love teaching people. So
right. Yeah, and I would say that's some pretty good stuff, some good magic sauce,
Yeah, and pay them well. You got to pay them well.
Yeah.
Got to pay them what they're worth. That's always been a challenge too. Is the company that the company that you learned at, that you cut your teeth at, let's say whatever it is, welding, project management, whatever it is, that if you came on as a green kid and you gained all these skills, there's a pretty high likelihood that you're not being paid what you're worth, because of the path that it took to get there. I don't know the exact reason, but it's very common that
It's something to do with perception of everyone at that company still views you as the kid that
The
was
kid.
just starting out, and
it's got to play a piece.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's something to do with that too. I mean, there's other parts, but
Mm-hmm.
I've thought about that a lot too.
Yeah, and that's not okay.
That
either.
doesn't work.
It doesn't
No.
work.
We have to constantly be evaluating with new eyes. What's this dude bringing to the table?
Right.
You know,
100%.
it's merit based.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not socialist.
No.
It's a meritocracy.
Socialism is death.
Mm-hmm. Woke mind virus.
Yeah.
Socialist.